So you're looking to play Brute, huh? New set coming out, cards are looking spicy, things are looking good for once for Brute players. Are you a filthy meta chaser? And there's a chance Brutes are going to be on top. And if you play that overpowered deck, maybe you'll win your armory. Or are you an ex-Icelander player? Oh, my frostbites. Who's just missing that ability to upset your opponent with every little action you take. It's delicious. Either way, this video is for you as we cover the foundations of what it takes to be a Brute. Let's do it. Core tenet number 1 of being a badass Brute player is to stop giving a f. Because to be a good Brute player is to understand that every tournament you enter, 1 to 2 games, your deck is going to say, not today. You can be twice as good as your opponent, but the Brute gods won't let you win. Let me show you an example real quick of what it means to be absolutely annihilating your opponent, only to lose because your deck said, F you.
I had exactly 3 misses in my graveyard. Of course, though, out of 10 cards in grave and only 3 misses, I hit the sub 5% chance to whiff all 3 and don't turn off Blood Debt this turn.
So as you can see, sometimes your deck just says no. Let's go on to the next one. Core tenet number 2 of being an amazing Brute player is get some thick skin. Don't be a baby. Because no matter how well you play, no matter how much better you are than your opponent, when you beat them, they're going to say it's not you who won. It's a high roll RNG. You might be 12 games in on a calling, absolutely destroy a Briar player. And that Briar is going to look you dead in the face and say, wow, can't believe how high you high rolled me. Sorry, what? You are a 3-card deck just like I am. And yours are better. Every card in your deck is better. And I beat the shit out of you. I beat 3 Briars today. But sorry, you're right. Rhinar, absolutely only a high roll hero. That's the only reason I made it 12 games so far. But you know, whatever. Whatever. So yeah, get some thick skin. Clearly, I'm still working on it. Tenet number 3 to being a great Brute player is to stop being a gambling addict. All right? I know. It's really not on brand. But to be a good Brute player, you need to ride that very thin line of absolute addiction and living a normal life with a white picket fence. You know what I mean? If you gamble too much, you're going to lose. But if you don't gamble at all, you're going to lose. Doesn't make any sense, but you'll figure it out. The more you play, the more you'll figure it out, and the more distrust you'll have in the world. I guarantee it. So we got the 3 tenets of what it takes to be a Brute player, right? So now we're going to talk about the 3 things you need. 3. Whenever you come to a tournament, okay? And these are super, super important because it's part of the foundation of becoming a Brute. Really like oozing that Brute essence to your opponents and to people around you, okay? So step 1 is get yourself a bunch of dice, right? And a personal thing is your dice should always be bigger than you, right? It's just mandatory, okay? You have to have bigger dice. I mean, you can't play Brute without it, right? The other thing you need is the ability to roll your random rolls, right? So when you discard, your opponent puts 4 cards down, 3 cards, 2 cards, whatever. You can be one of those people who has like a D20 or D8 or D12 or whatever, and you do all that fancy bullshit math, and then that's how you choose what random card gets. I prefer just to have a D4, because why would I want to do math, right? A D4 and a D6 can do everything you need. First time you intimidate, you roll a D4. Second time you roll a D6, you pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you go down to 2 and it's even, odd, whatever, right? You can be one of those fancy math Brutes with like the D12s and all that kind of bullshit. Another really important thing is you got to get some metal dice, right? These little metal dice. The reason you have these is if your opponent's being a bitch. You take your metal dice and you throw them on their cards, dents their shit. It's really important. Really, really important. The second most important thing about being a Brute is your sleeves. Okay, you want them to be broody and disgusting. Okay, you want to have like never change these sleeves in 3 years. I had a pair of black sleeves. I ran into the ground. I had 3 judges check them in my top 8 at the calling, looking for inconsistencies, but they were all so destroyed that they couldn't find any. All right. You want your sleeves to be disgusting because you're a brute player, and you want your cards to be a mixed match of whites, like white border cards, black border cards, rainbow foils, but not too many because you don't want to look like you have money. And then a bunch of just kind of like trashed basic cards. But you want to mix. You want it to be just disgusting. White border, black border, rainbow foil. You don't want to know what's going on, and neither does your opponent. It's super important. And your sleeves, the older, the more beat up, the better. Most important thing is your playmat, right? You want your opponents to know. You want them to know that you're a brute player, right? You're going to a draft set and heavy hitters, and you want to make sure that your person to your left and the person to your right aren't going to pick brute. You know how you do that? You have brute sleeves, a brute playmat, and then you sit down and people know you play brute, right? That's the easiest way to make sure that the people to your right and your left aren't going to just pick brute, because they know that the only thing you're going to do is take the brute card, pick one, pack one, and you're going to pass it, and you will tank their shot. You'll tank the whole table. You'll be the 6th brute. That's what it takes. It's really important. Some Savage Lands. Oh God, it's upside down. Some Savage Lands playmats coming out soon. Gonna put that in there video right now. And so now that you have the foundations of playing a brute, being a brute, living like a brute, even, we're gonna need to get you a deck. We're gonna start off with the bones, the structure, sub $50, sub $100 deck, and then we're gonna talk about the upgrades from there. And because heavy hitters coming out, we're gonna be a little careful with what cards we recommend here. We're only gonna recommend the cream of the crop, the cream. All right, let's dive into it. So we got our brute foundation right in front of us, okay? And this is like the floor. This is the bottom. This is where you start if you're trying to build a brute deck. We're looking at our equipment here. Very cheap. None of this is good. Gonna be honest. Hardened cross trap, you're gonna use that in CC. Mandible claws. If you're not running mandible claws right now, there's no reason to play brute, right? This is the only weapon that is winning any event on both heroes. If you're looking for Leviathan lists, go check out Mansand's channel. He just put a budget list out. He's got all of that. We're really talking about Rhinar right now. I failed to mention that, but go find Ethan's channel, Mansand Fab, for Leviathan stuff, if that's what you're into. Maybe we get some cool stuff in heavy hitters, but for right now, claws is the only way to go. I don't care what you say. It's the only Rhinar deck with tournament results. It's the only Leviathan deck with tournament results. That's what you got to go, and they're cheap. Go get them. Cross trap, good also. And then the rest is just necessary evils, because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a sub $70 deck. To be honest, this deck does not cost $70. If you came to my LGSs, any of the LGSs I play at, and you say, I want to be a Rhinar player.
Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
I need some of these commons here. People are going to give them to you. It's just a bunch of trash. Nobody likes brute cards. We're going to be honest. Nobody wants them. They're commons. They're trash. They're bulk. All of this, practically all of it, I can give to you for free. Come find me. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to start with our foundation cards. You new to the game, you need Fate for Scenes, you need Sigil of Solaces, and you need Synchrolos, because they're in every deck, pretty much. Sigils maybe a little less, but you're going to want these cards. They're useful in Leviathan, they're useful in Rhinar, they're useful everywhere else. You're going to want them. They're good cards as a staple, and they're not that expensive, so go get them. Go get them. And as far as Rhinar ratios go, you're going to want 17 to 18 blues, you're going to want 15 yellows, and you're going to want to shove whatever reds you got in there, okay? Don't fuck with the ratios until you've won an armory. Don't do it. It works. So our blues, you see here, trash. F tier, 3, 6, 9. I messed up. There should be, oh no, they're up here. Okay. So they're all terrible. Every one of these blues in this list, absolute dumpster garbage. Barraging Beatdown is the only exception next to Reckless Swing. Reckless Swing is the shit. You're going to win 30% of your games with Reckless Swing. It's just how it goes. I don't know why. Brute math, right? That 2 damage pretty much always comes in clutch. Your yellows, all right? All of our yellows in Rhinar suck. They're terrible. Heavy hitters hopefully changes that. But right now, the only one that is really any useful at all is Blood Rush Bellows. And again, if you don't have Blood Rush Bellows, don't play Brute. I'm sorry. Wait until you can afford the 3 copies of Blood Rush Bellows, because otherwise, yeah, you might as well just go watch other people play the game because you're never going to win. All right, so get your Blood Rush Bellows copies. You know, Beast Within's pretty good too, not that expensive for a Majestic. Get those 2 cards and then shove in whatever yellows you have, right? Anything that doesn't say discard, funnily enough, typically is what we use. Same thing with our blues, right? They're all useless. You could change them out. You could put Eye of the Oracle in there. Nobody would know, right? Nobody could tell. And then your reds. You can pretty much take any red you want, right? Skullcrack, one of our cheaper Majestic that's actually useful, go buy that. Alpha Rampage, cheap Majestic, go buy it. One of the most annoying things you can ever do to your opponent is play red, barraging beatdown into Alpha Rampage on turn 0, do 13 damage. They can't interact with it and they're upset. It's amazing. And then the rest of your reds, you know, go find 2 cost reds that you can find, and then get some Savage Feasts in there, and you're looking golden, right? Doesn't really matter the rest of them, kind of trash, whatever. You know, you can win pretty much an armory with Blood Rush Bellows, Claws, and like just Pack Hunt. You can win an armory. All right. So let's recap. You're gonna want 17 to 18 blues. They all suck. Doesn't matter which ones they are unless it says Reckless Swing or Wreck and Rump on it, right? You're gonna want 15 yellows. And it's going to have 3 copies of Blood Rush Bellows, 3 copies of Beast Within, and then it doesn't matter because they all suck. And then your reds, you're going to take whatever you can find plus your defensive cards, because that's the only way Rhinar wins is defensive cards. Clear? Easy. Easy peasy. So one of the most important things I forgot to mention is that your cards need to say the number 6 on that bottom left-hand corner. They have to have 6 power on them. As many 6 powers as you can get. You want at least 30 in there. I didn't mention it once in this video. Really important for brutes, right? All of those discarding mechanics, Blood Rush Bellows, anything, you know, like you need the number 6. So those reds you're shoving in there, they need to have the number 6 on them. Those yellows, they should have the number 6 on them. You want at least 30, right? Like, so remember that. So now let's look at upgrades. Okay. These are cards that are so good that I don't think heavy hitters is going to touch them at all. All right, let's go take a look at what these irreplaceable cards are. So here are what I think are the cards for Rhinar that are never, ever going to go away, most likely, unless heavy hitters is absolutely wild, right? We got Fendel Spring Tunic. Brutes don't have a chest piece, so this is the best one we got next to like Heart and Crossstrap, and of course Levia has the 6 armor on a stick, which is sick. But right now, both Levia and Rhinar run this card. It's really good. It generates resources over the course of the game. Rhinar is a little bit more tanky, so you're going to get some value out of it. Unless Heavy Hitters gives us a sick legendary chest piece, this is not going to go away. Not going to go away. So go get one. I wouldn't say get it first, but you know, because Crossstrap is so cheap and is honestly pretty much equivocal right now because of how fast the game is. Gambler's Gloves. Brutes have trash arms. They're garbage. F tier. Absolutely useless. Gambler's Gloves block for 0, and the only thing this card says is that you can roll an additional 1. Sick, right? We're the only class that has arms that literally counter our intrinsic RNG, right? And then we got Skull Crushers, which block 1 and blow up as soon as you roll a 1. Super cool. Super cool. So unless Heavy Hitters gives us something sick, you know, these are here to stay, unfortunately. Scabskin Leathers. These are dumb, right? They give you 3 health. They let you do stupid things. They let you come back from games that you should have lost, right? Like rolls, Command and Conquer, swing big, swing big. It gives you those like 20 damage Savage Feast turns. Pretty nuts. Go buy them. And then Scowling Flesh Bag, right? This card is cracked. It's worth like 7 life, more than that sometimes. Intimidate on your opponent's turn is crazy when they've meticulously planned to execute something stupid. You block a Rebel and Rune Blood with this, and you win the game, right? Ninjas hate this card, and we don't like ninjas. And then Skullhorn, AB2 on a stick. Not very many classes get that. Unfortunately, the text on this card basically says trash. So, you know, like, I don't know, maybe 1 in 1,000 games you're going to go get a win with this card. But most of the time, if you use this, Kano's going to kill you on the spot. So don't do it. All right. And then we got our 2 cost 6 power attacks. And these are Command and Conquer, being the most busted card ever printed in Flesh and Blood. Pretty much is up there. No card has ever come near the power of this card. That's why it costs $100. But you know, it blocks 3. It destroys your opponent's arsenal. There is no hero in the game that doesn't have an arsenal, so this impacts everybody, and it's cracked. And then the rest of these are like tech options. You know, like I don't like ninjas, I don't like Dromai, and I don't like Viscerai. That's pretty much what these do. Buy them. They're generics. They fit in every deck. They're good foundation cards. And honestly, Command and Conquer is dumb. It's our only on hit right now. heavy hitters is going to help that a little bit, but CNC pretty much are only like, please block this card, you know? Then we got Pulping and Wild Ride. Pulping be a little bit stronger. Depending on the support we get in heavy hitters, this card might become like a mainstay, depending on how aggressive we can get. Pulping tends to be a little better because even when it fails, your opponent has to give you 2 cards to turn it off. And then Savage Beatdown. Kind of the same problem with Pulping and Wild Ride, right? Like it's a little inconsistent. However, when this card functions, is it so sick, right? 12 damage, 3 cost card with a discard trigger. Intimidate. It's disgusting. It does damage. It's going to force damage. Only problem right now is you kind of have to hit scabs to make it work, or play it on your Blood Rush turn, and you're really sacrificing a lot of consistency to do 4 more damage, you know? And then you got Swing Big. LSS straight up was like, this card's a mistake. We regret printing it. It's crazy. 2 cost, 8 power attack with a 3 block on it. Guardians have to spend like 4 to 6 resources to get this much damage. 4 to 6. We can pummel this with Tunic, right? Dumb. Really strong. It does have like the tax on it to give your opponent a quicken, but like most of the heroes in the game right now they all have go again. So it's like, well, whatever, you know? Skullcrack and Beast Within, any card that gives you resources, mostly better for Rhinar, not so good for Leviah. We'll see what the new heroes do, but card's pretty good, you know? And then Arg Smash, Smashing Performance. We're the only class that can just flick items off the table, you know? It's really good, especially in a mechanologist item meta. Berserk, not very good right now, but it could be. This card could be nuts in the heavy hitters world. Let's keep our eyes on this because it could be sick. It's also super fun to play with if you like losing, but it could be a really fun experience. Blood Rush, not going to go away. Doesn't matter. Card's too cracked. It's Art of War plus more, plus it blocks. And it always gives you 6 value. You know, like only 5 gets 6 value off of Art of War. Pummel, you know, it might be in the heavy hitters meta. It might not. But it's just a good card to give you some experience with. Also, it works with the Rhinar's kit. It works with Leviah's kit. Maybe not as well because she's more aggressive now, but like it's a good idea to go get some and play with it. And then you got your 2 tech defensive options, which like mostly for Ninja, you know, like this is mostly for Ninja. This is mostly for Ninja, people who draw cards, but these are good when the meta says like you need to block Ninja cards, right? These are the cards that I don't think are going away. I could be wrong with some of these, you know, these legendaries, if heavy hitters has some sick ass legendaries in it. But yeah, I doubt these cards are really going to go away, and you should buy them because you're going to be a filthy degenerate brute player soon, and you're going to want to win, and you want the best cards to win, right? Also, make sure you roll well. All right. You now have everything you need. You are now an absolute savage, an apex predator, the cream of the crop, a true ape. And now I can't wait to see what you do in 2024. How many tournaments brutes are on the top of? And I can't wait to be one of them. I'll see you next year. Happy holidays.